Hi, and welcome to the SMA Audio Experience podcast. It's brought to you by St. Michael San Diego's Technology and Social Media team. St. Michael Academy San Diego is a Catholic school located in the South Bay region of San Diego County. We've been educating students pre-K through 8th grade for over 50 years. On this podcast, we interview and discuss people, organizations, and topics impacting St. Michael Academy and the community around us. When you're here, you're home. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SMA Audio Experience podcast. This week we have a very special guest. They're one of our many sponsors. We recently had a annual Spring Fling school fundraiser event, and one of the things that we're doing different this year with the sponsors who supported the event was we offered, some social media presence, some advertising, and also some interview and airtime on our podcast. So we're 25 plus episodes deep, and we want to go ahead and get started with the next super amazing person that is doing great things, has a great empathy towards, Catholic schools, Catholic education, and it's just a down-to-earth person that likes to have a lot of fun. So we have none other than Kristinna Tiong. Hey, Kristinna, good morning. Welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me.
How was your weekend?
It was productive. We had our JV basketball team. Jalen played with her teammates at Mater Day against St. Rita's, so that was pretty active. And then my son Julian had his last track meet, and he placed third on his 100-meter run. So that was pretty exciting. And then yesterday was errands and getting ready for the week.
Nice. Very nice. Well, for a lot of our listeners who, have families, they can definitely relate to a very productive weekend in our, the tough weather conditions of sunny San Diego, so.
Right. It's so hard.
it is very hard because there's many times when, it kind of puts you into a trance that you want to relax, right? Spend time at the park, beach, or just
right.
not at home. So. For those who haven't met you yet, can you share your origin story of how you got here and, what's going on with you right
now? So I am a St. Michael's alumni, and my kids go to St. Michael's, and definitely appreciate the Catholic education. By profession, I focus on Medicare policy for I work for a pharmaceutical company, and I focus on Medicare policy and patient advocacy. So that's been something I've been doing for over 15 years. And, then I just kind of started with my Rodin Fields skincare business about a year ago. I used to be a customer and just really decided to take care of my skin, and then decided to take a leap of faith and open my own business with Rodin Fields. That's how I got here today.
Nice. And when you're, I want to roll this back just for fun. So for, I know recently in looking at the Fiat Catholic school system, St. Michael Academy is one of the member schools and parishes, in the South Bay community of San Diego. They had a recent social media contest, and, I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but would you say, has it been 1 or 2 decades since, you graduated SMA? You can say 1 or 2.
I am proud. I am a class of 1990, so it's been a while since I graduated from St. Michael's.
Very cool. And the one thing that I, when I was reading an article about 3 to 4 years ago, and the interesting thing with social media is, do you recall, or do you still keep in contact with like a handful or 1 or 2 of your old classmates, either, that you were classmates with during school or when you graduated at St. Michael's?
Yes.
So you guys still stay in contact?
Yes. Correct.
Very cool. And then how is that where, do you guys ever joke around and you say, hey, can you believe it that it's been so long since we graduated? Or hey, our kids are so much older now that we're talking about high school or college or things like that.
Yes, it's definitely, I still think of myself as young and still trying to figure it out. And, then we look at our kids and they follow us around. And I have, a 16-year-old. And so we definitely joke about how time is definitely flying by.
For high school, when I know that we shared this in common too, because we went to the same high school, because well, it's Cathedral Catholic now, but back
Yeah,
then we knew it as uni, right, as USDHS. So,
definitely.
you're very
Yep.
very accomplished student there. Can I know a lot of people who are listening to this also may have their current children or a child in Catholic high school. Can you share your experience of how that was for you?
Yeah, so both of us, we were able to go to uni, which again is now Cathedral. When I first went to uni, I was, like, why can't I go to public school? Why can't I just be with my other friends? But, at the end of my high school journey, I was extremely appreciative of the sacrifice my parents made. There's just something different about going to a Catholic high school, especially at uni. I met a variety of different people from all over San Diego. The teachers during my time, so I graduated class in '94. They were so helpful and pretty cool. I think some of them are still there at
Hmm.
Cathedral High School. And I liked where our high school sat. It was right next to USD. It overlooked the ocean. It had a great view. It was next to Fashion Valley. So I although the drive was a bit of a sacrifice for us coming down from South Bay, I did get to meet different people that I would not have ever met had I just stayed in my own community. So I do appreciate just the education. We did have a lot of homework, and they definitely pushed you to really do well. And so when I started college, it was really not a hard transition. I was used to the type of curriculum. So looking back, I did appreciate all of those fundamental pieces that uni provided. Even though when I was young, I didn't appreciate it. So
Well, right. When you're in the
only
thick of it,
afterwards.
it's not the most exciting, work at times. You're kind of dread it a little
Right.
bit, and that's just being 100% honest, right? With
Yeah.
at any student at any level. So,
Right.
how's that looking at
Yep.
it now? Especially, you have a 16-year-old, and then Jalen, she's in junior high. She's in that, that's grade 6, 7, 8, that type of range. How is it looking when you see it from a parent's point of view? To their experiences with the workload and just dealing with friends and as they grow up, how's that been for you?
I've actually, we do, there's not a lot of us, right, that send our kids to Catholic school. And so, my husband and I, we definitely think about, what are they getting? What's the difference? And, for Jalen specifically, I still like that they have a
Mhm.
small setting. There's a lot of focus on each child. And then the overall environment, all the parents that I meet, we all have a common goal for our children, to raise them in a Catholic faith. And so I definitely like those aspects of like the big picture of it. And, we don't have to worry about junior high. It's just a nice blend of going from, kindergarten to eighth grade and then their next journey into high school. So I definitely appreciate that environment that St. Michael's has provided. And then moving into high school, it is, a bigger sacrifice. Julian goes
Mhm.
to Mater Dei High School in Chula Vista. And I've just been impressed with the way that the curriculum is, the goals of the principal. When we first started freshman year, they invited the parents to an orientation to understand what the daily, routine our child will be going through, what's the focus, what's the goal. Each year they take PSATs. The goal of the school is to not only have their student get accepted to any college, but to the top tier one colleges in the nation. So it definitely, puts things into perspective on the school's goals and their expectations and how they're trying to help each student succeed and get to that college career. And also the environment. It's very safe. You have to get buzzed to get into the school. All the staff, they're definitely friendly, and my son is definitely transitioning well into high school. So it is something that we're grateful for.
Would now compared to like when, we're talking about this topic, and I think about it when, we were back in high school, and then now that your eldest is in high school, how do you see this ever changing like economy and market where there's so many articles like in Forbes, or you just see it in the trends in different business areas where there's a drive for either like for freelancing or entrepreneurship, or as in your case, you stated like recently within the last year you went from being a customer to also being a business owner. How do you see that growing, or do you see or do you hear feedback from either Matter Day or St. Michael's for different initiatives to kind of encourage not only the academic rigor, but also those business skills, or those flavors of entrepreneurship that you're experiencing right now for yourself?
Oh, great question. I definitely, so I'm not sure at St. Michael's. I definitely see that they're open to expanding different opportunities for the kids. At Matter Day, it's still your basic core competencies, but they definitely have little school groups that focus on initiatives that students find interesting. For me personally, I definitely see the importance of diversifying your portfolio because I work in a pharmaceutical industry. It's very volatile. It's a very, blessed career that I've experienced, but also very volatile. You can have a job one day and then the next not have a job. So I decided to really kind of change it up and build something that's mine, slowly, and when you start your own business, whether it's through, direct sales or you open up an actual brick and mortar, you definitely have to see it through, not just in the immediate success per se. So like, the 4-year goals, the 5-year goals, where I hopefully will be in a different place with my business. It's not something that's an immediate gratification. And hopefully then if, my day job is threatened, that I won't be too shaken by it from a financial standpoint.
That makes sense. I mean,
and that's what I tried with my kids. Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense. I mean, in addition to those traditional things that we've heard for decades, right? Build that rainy day fund, and do other matters to set yourself up. Not just to protect yourself, if you're just by yourself, or protect you and your spouse, or if you have children, meaning your family. Just having those different tools on your tool belt. It reminds me of hearing these documentaries, like on Netflix or on like these other channels about back then on some of the professional sports players, for example, back then, where when season was done, they would go back to actually doing, they would either be business owners, or they would be skilled in a trade. They'd lay brick, they'd build houses, or, run a business when they weren't being a professional sports star, right? Totally different now with, the modern day professional athlete. But it goes back to back then. I mean, hey, they diversified, and they were considered professional athletes in a sport, right? Or in entertainment. So it's very interesting. And what have you seen, obviously that work ethic, and, just doing things that are uncomfortable, or whether or having that discipline to do stuff even though you don't feel like doing it. I would think that it's just another flavor or a different way to show work ethic, to the kids. Like they may have it naturally, but it's just another way to reinforce it without having to just tell them directly, hey, you guys need to work hard.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. They see, I think it's important what I've learned, as a parent and as a child,
Mm-hmm.
right? What us, at least for me, my parents, this, I guess, consider the first generation. So there was also a cultural gap between us. They didn't grow up
Mm-hmm.
here. I grew up here in San Diego. So, what I wanted for my kids is to really have, just a little bit more transparency, just taking it to another level, showing the highs and lows of working
Mm-hmm.
hard and when it's successful and what do we get to do when, mommy sells an eye cream or
Right.
what we get to do when, when things don't go our way and we've tried really hard. And so I definitely share that with them so that they can see that things, you may see somebody and they look successful, they look like they have everything together, but they don't see the behind the scenes of the struggle, how, they're trying to get creative or just all the times that they have failed,
Oh yeah.
for the one time that they succeed. And so I like to show that and share that with them just so that they can be part of it, part of that journey with me. So
That's awesome. And for those listening who maybe haven't heard of, what you do for your business, can you share a little bit about your business? Again, like for those listening, Kristinna was a generous sponsor along with a other handful group of business owners who generously, were sponsors that helped to offset the cost of the Vegas style table games at the very lively Spring Fling event. So we'd love to hear a little bit more about your business that helped pay for a table where I knew there were some parents who were getting very loud and having a joyous time throwing dice and seeing my former teachers and Mrs. Johnson play blackjack and everything in a very legal and fun and entertaining manner. It was great to see everyone being a family and having a really great time. So, but I know that
yeah, it was a great event.
you being a business owner to help sponsor that, we'd love to hear a little bit more about your business and what you do and how you help people.
Thanks, Mark. So again, it's Rodin Fields. It's a anti-aging and acne skincare line. So just background, if you've heard of Proactive, Dr. Rodin and Dr. Fields are the creators of Proactive, which was a successful and is still a successful acne regimen. So Rodin Fields is a spinoff. They decided to focus on anti-aging with 4 core skincare regimens. And it's basically the goal is a multi-met skin therapy, the right dose in the right order for the right patient, right, or the skincare client. And just recently, it made its $1 billion mark, so it's now $1 billion company, and it just ranked in North America as #1 skincare line for 2017. It also earned that rank in 2016 as well, so it's 2 years in a row. So the 4 core regimens that Rodin Fields offers is one is Redefine, that focuses on fine lines and wrinkles. Reverse, which focuses on brown spots and discoloration or hyperpigmentation. Then we have our Unblemished for acne and breakouts. I call the Unblemished line the adult level of Proactive because a lot of my friends use Proactive and when they were younger. So this is kind of graduating to the adult line. And then those who have really sensitive skin, we have our Soothe regimen line, and all focus on anti-aging and different types of goals. So I really like, where you purchase, and it's not just for women, it's for men. We also have Beyond the Shave for men. Men also have skincare needs as well. So it's not limited to just one type of person. It's anyone who really wants to focus on their skincare. And then we have, lately we have our Lash Boost, which is for visibly longer lashes. So it's a really nice blend of skincare products to help, keep your skin not only looking clean, but slowing the aging process, basically.
Nice. And what's been like your best go-to that a lot of people have been reaching out to you on Instagram, texting you or calling you, or when they see you, like lately, like in the last month to 2 months, what's been something that you see trending in your business?
Well, I think that a lot of questions that I've gotten are around, dark circles and puffiness around the eyes. So we have two really helpful eye creams to focus on, the crow's wrinkles, I believe, or I have dark circles and puffiness. So that definitely, I love the eye cream. And then our lash boost has been really popular. But then even just back to the basics, I've been asked about good exfoliating systems. So we do have an AMP roller, which is a roller that has micro needles to help, get rid of the dead skin and help to rejuvenate new skin. And then helps to also deepen the penetration of your skincare regimen. And then we also have our microdermabrasion paste, which is another exfoliation. It is filled with vitamin C, and it's nice to just be able to do facials at home on a periodical basis, rather than having to set an appointment and go get your facials or whatever you have to do. It's something you can do at home. So those have been our popular regimens lately.
Nice. And we always want to bring value to a lot of the listeners, and I'm sure you share these tips when you write any blog articles or on your channels, or when you come across meeting people. What are your go-to 2 to 3 things, that those fundamentals that you like to remind yourself, and also remind the people you work with, as far as caring for their skin. What are some good things to keep in mind? And some of them probably fundamental, or there might be things that people may not know about, but we'd love for you if you'd like to share some things that you like sharing with people.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely think for me, it's nutrition, right? If we're dehydrated, it's going to show in our skin. So you could do you can provide or invest so much in your skincare, but if you're dehydrated, it's not going to really work well. And also sunscreen. Sunscreen's super important, especially for us living in Southern California. We always like to be out. Sunscreen is super key, and just taking the time to put into your skincare. So, whether it's exfoliating or finding that regimen that helps you reach your goals, and looking at it from that standpoint and versus a price standpoint, right? That's, for me, that's what I had to also remind myself when I first started as a client. I'm like, oh gosh. But then at the same time, we have to invest in our skin, just like we have a gym membership. We try to eat healthier, so that's a different type of investment. So why not also invest in your skincare? So that's some of the core fundamentals I try to remind myself, but also my clients as well.
Nice. And, you mentioned, hydration, because, that's a pretty well-known fact. So if, someone didn't believe in that, there's lots of data, lots of white papers, scientific experiments where drinking, the proper amount of water for, your body composition or makeup, it's not too hard to find, and it's relatively easy to do. But here's a follow-up to that is, when you noticed, especially like maybe a year ago or different parts of your adult life, where you're like, hey, I've been slipping, I maybe haven't been drinking my water as much. What things do you notice in that moment that triggered you to say, hey, I got to get back on track of, drinking my water or getting rest? What are some things that triggered in your mind for yourself that I think other people may be going through, and they can find value in hearing, those struggles or those things that you battle with as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, you also mentioned rest, getting more, 6 hours of sleep or more is super important as well. But when I notice that, I'm feeling sluggish or irritable, or I'm feeling kind of lack of energy, I try to think about, okay, what did I drink enough water today? I actually asked myself that question because, in the morning for me, my go-to is coffee. I turn on that Keurig machine and I get my coffee. So But it was kind of, I had to create the habit of, okay, let me have a glass of
Mm-hmm.
water while my coffee is running or getting made.
Nice.
So that's when I really had to try to create those additional habits. Because we've all, I don't know if you drink coffee, but we all, okay, morning coffee,
Yes. Oh yes.
afternoon
Mm-hmm.
coffee, but not, wait, did I drink my 8 glasses of water
Right.
today, or did I sleep well last night? I think those definitely, when you think about your mood, and when I get a little cranky and moody, I was like, wait, what did I do today? Just to take a step back, and did I even eat a proper meal? Or did I just have like chips, or did I go get, carne asada
Yes.
fries instead of a salad?
That's very cool. And it just brought up an item or an idea in my head because, if you probably did it every couple hours, it probably might drive you crazy. You have notifications on your phone and you probably just turn off the alarm, like a reminder, setting a little reminder on your phone.
Yeah,
Maybe I like your idea of asking yourself that question. So maybe once a day, like just setting a time of the day to yourself, like on your phone or whatever you use for a
right,
reminder of, the when it pops on your phone, it will just say, have you thought about how much water you've drank so far today? Something like that. Where it's
right.
maybe one thing,
Yep,
but it's not enough to drive you crazy and turn off the alarm. And not have you
exactly.
use it. So that is a great tip. And I think no matter where anybody's at in their lifestyle journey for whatever health goals they have, that can be applied at any time. There's no need to wait for New Year.
Right,
There's no need to wait for any special
right.
occasion. You can take a second and
Start today.
start today. Grab a cup of water. Go to Costco. Go to Amazon. There's pretty much no excuses now, right? You can buy like some of those inexpensive like cooler, like what do you call that, thermal flasks or whatever, the
Get a hydro
hydro
flask,
flasks
a
or
Yeti,
whatever,
whatever.
put some ice
Wall
in
it up
there.
with
Yeah,
stickers.
you can flavor the water. So
Yep.
uh, there's multiple ways to get around that. So that is amazing. That is very cool. And so hearing all of this, as you grow, as you grown up, you become a parent, a successful, professional in your career, a starting, aspiring business owner. It seems like you have faith or your purpose in order, or at least you have it down some way, maybe written down, or something that you're driving towards, that fuels you in so many of those different spokes of your life. Can you share a little bit of that inspiration that you use, where I'm sure there's some faith in there?
Oh, absolutely. Everything is that I do is stemmed through my faith. I think that, when I was younger and I was going through Catholic school, and then I went to college, and just kind of learning as a young adult how to navigate through life. And I think some of I some of the mistakes that I made as a young adult, and it really kind of strengthened my faith to say, okay, you know what, I need to let it go and let God in. And I really try to keep that mentality through my personal life, through my profession,
Mhm.
specifically, the highs and lows of my profession, and when it's changing jobs, and just realizing, just to keep my faith, because there's some job opportunities that, were amiss, and I didn't get the job that I thought, I was right for. And a year later, I hear about just all the problems in that role. And I'm grateful that that's why I didn't get that job. And so I try to approach, my new adventure with Rodin Fields, with my faith, that I just have to be true to myself. I need to, believe that this is a vehicle that will help me to, gain some financial freedom and more time with my family. And I believe in the product. So you have to have that faith in order to, I think for me personally, endure the lows of your business or the lows of your profession, because it's not always going to be, you know, always happy and gaining all that success in one moment. There are going to be, challenging times. And if, you don't have, if I didn't have that core fundamentals of the faith that I have in myself, and that, you know, and then also that I believe in my business, then, without those two things, it really won't work out for me. So, I do, that is my fundamental, foundation for sure, is my faith.
Amazing, amazing. Well, amen to that. I know that you're a very motivated. You always pack your days. You're a very productive person, and I'd like to take a moment and actually thank you for sharing so much of your life experiences, from so many different areas of your life, to that we know that a future student or a graduate or someone in college right now, maybe starting their college journey, or someone who's graduated, or who's going through transition. I'd like
Right.
to thank you for sharing what you've been experiencing, because hopefully that will be a great pick me up and inspiration. That little moment where you may not know them, but you're helping them 100%, right? So we'd like to thank you for that, for taking time to do that.
Well, thank you for having me. Such a great opportunity, and I look forward to next year
That's amazing.
for the same. We'll see how it goes next year.
Yes, we had a lot of discussion. I took down a lot of notes for all these ideas popped up as the event was going on, and just like anything, we just like to have more fun and just get creative and do things better, right? I mean, that's just a
Right.
natural inclination.
Mm-hmm.
And but we're
Yep.
excited to do that, and we're excited to have more great sponsors such as yourself join us for next year. But here in San Diego, so for those of you who are in different parts of the country who listen to us, where the weather isn't in those mid 70s sunny, we'll say a prayer and send all that great weather energy to you as you finish listening to this episode. But again, we'd like to thank Kristinna Tiong for being a guest on the SMA audio experience. Tune into next week for another episode with an amazing person who's changing their community, making a great impact through their Catholic-filled life with themselves, their family, and the people around them. So thanks for listening. We'll hear you on the next episode. Take care. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the SMA Audio Experience podcast, brought to you by St. Michael San Diego's Technology and Social Media team. For more information, go ahead and visit our website at www.smasandiego.org. On Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, we use the common handle or username of SMA San Diego. So you can definitely reach out to us there, leave a tweet, a message, a post, a comment. We'll be happy to engage with you, answer all your questions, and really join in part of sharing the St. Michael San Diego story on social media and on the internet, and also via the podcast. So thanks again for listening. Take care, and we'll hear you next week.